Shannon from Creative Chaos in Tennessee, and today we are back with our intro for our organization that starts now. So far for the whole month of October, we have been working on decluttering, and we have worked through this bingo, most of it. There's a few things I did that didn't have a video, but, and I didn't do my blank space. But I did get a bingo, so yay, I was so excited. But I do have this printable over on my Facebook group, and or I can email it to you if you're not on Facebook. I have created a new one for us to start over for organization. It doesn't have all the same things on it. I did change a few things up on here. I think I might have added a few things that weren't on the other one. So, today, before we jump in to just organizing, I just kind of wanted to review a few things, tell y'all where my mind is. Thank you guys for all of your comments, hoping I get well. I am feeling better. I'm still not 100%. You can probably tell by my voice, but I am on the mend, so the medicine's working. And, so first off, I guess that I want to say for organization does not work unless you declutter first. Unless you are just already a very minimal type person. And in my experience and in the crafting experience I've had for about my whole life, but I've been scrapbooking for 28 years, and I don't know a single crafter who doesn't have a surplus of stuff, because I never want to speak for everyone else, but I know I'm not alone, and we have a lot of crap, and I'm not saying that derogatory or anything. I call my stuff crap. It's good, but I call it crap. Stuff, junk. I'm like, I have all this junk that I don't need. But we all have a lot of stuff, and I have been so proud of seeing y'all with all the stuff y'all are cleaning out. Some of that stuff I'm looking at and I'm like, man, I love that. I would love that. Like, I need that. And Lord knows, I do not need anything else, truly. I already have so much stuff. And I do still have some decluttering to do, but I have broken it down enough, working on those 10-minute timers, that I feel like I can breathe a little bit easier. Literally. But maybe that's what caused all this to be brought on, bronchitis and pneumonia, is all the dust I stirred up decluttering. Who knows? But truly, decluttering, I feel like, is the most important step to organization, because it builds on that. So, I just want to say that I wrote myself some notes, so, because y'all know I like to get sidetracked and go down the rabbit hole. I just want to say, you know, whenever it comes to this, with decluttering, you have to break it down into small periods of time, because if not, you're going to get overwhelmed, and that's probably the whole reason why you're not as organized as you would like to be already. A lot of us are perfectionists, and being a perfectionist does not mean everything is perfect in your room or in whatever part of your life. But it's the fact that you want to do it perfect, and either you don't have the time, you don't have the money, you don't have the ability, whatever. So then we'll stack little piles, or we'll say we're going to dump everything in this basket until I get this organizer, or until I'm able to move this, or I'm going to have a bigger room at some point, or whatever. We like to make a lot of excuses, if we're being honest. I like to make excuses. But you have to prioritize, like, make a list, like, literally make a list of all the things that you are wanting to do in your room and accomplish to begin with. Make a list. Write down every little thing that you can think of. Now that you've made that list, you're feeling overwhelmed, right? Because you think, man, that's a lot of stuff. How is that ever going to get accomplished? So I would say go through, now that you have your list of all the things that you want to do, and prioritize them. Write a number by them. Like, number 1, what is most important? Put a number 1 beside it, because that's the thing you want to work on first. It's what's most important to you, and it's going to help you get the room that you are wanting. So you also have to be honest with yourself and think, okay, now on this list, all of these things, is this real life me or is this fantasy me? Because we all have that fantasy self, right? As in, oh, I would love a bigger room. Oh, one of these days, I'm going to get a bigger shelf. I'm going to get this awesome organizational thing. Well, that's your fantasy self. That's not real life self. That's not where you're at. So you have to be honest with yourself in this process. And to me, decluttering and organization has always kind of been easy for me. I am a sentimental person. I scrapbook. So I am sentimental. I like to hold on to things. But I know in probably the last 3 or 4 years, it has become so much easier for me to let go of things. Just this past week, I decluttered my grandma's special dishes. Like, she had this really pretty floral china set that had the little cups and the plates and the bowls and the saucers, like it was the whole 9 yards. And I decluttered it and got rid of it because she's been gone for 10 years now, and I used it one time in those 10 years. And that's a memory for me that I hold on to in my mind, but my kids could care less. It's not important to them. There's no memories attached to it. It was 10 years ago, so Brooke was 6 when her great-grandma, because it was my grandma, my grandma and grandpa pretty much raised me. So it was very special to me. It was the memories in my mind. She always had that china set up in her china cabinet in the kitchen, and all her pretty dishes and all that stuff. But we have to be honest with ourselves. It's very much not just a physical act of organizing or decluttering. It's a mental aspect of, you have to be in the right mind frame to let go of things and think, okay, what's really important? What am I going to prioritize? And how am I going to lay this out for the way my brain works? Because I will say, all of our brains are not the same. That's why some organization items work for some people and other people hate them. Because our brains work differently on how we process things, on how we work on things. And there's lots of differences. So I love watching organization, decluttering videos, cleaning videos on YouTube. And I watch a lot of different people on there. But I started with the Minimal Mom, Dawn at the Minimal Mom, and I love her. And you can look around and see I'm not a minimalist, but I keep telling my family, okay, that's it, because they know I watch her. I'm like, okay, that's it. We are becoming minimalist because I'm tired of cleaning house every day. But seriously, I get so much from her, even though she's minimal, and she's been, I think, living that way like 8 years or something now. But I get so much wisdom from her. And she does stuff in conjunction with Cass over at Clutterbug. A lot of y'all probably follow her. And I found her some years ago, but didn't really follow real closely. But in the past probably year, I have been tuning into her more regular. And I absolutely love her. I love listening to her podcasts and the people that she gets on there. But her style of organization and how she classifies it clicked in my brain, and I'm like, this is it. This lady knows what she's talking about. So she has a website, clutterbug.com, and she has a free test that you can go over there and you can take, and it will tell you your decluttering style, and she breaks it down into categories of bugs. So there's a butterfly, there's a ladybug, there's a cricket, and there's a bee. So whenever you go take the test, because you're not always necessarily one thing, because I am a ladybug. In general, I'm a ladybug. And I will tell y'all more in depth what each one is in a second. And you can definitely go over her channel. She has tons of videos, specialty organization videos. They're not necessarily craft related. They're just in general for your whole house. But based on each bug style and how to do those things. But that's going to kind of be what I want to do this month. I want to focus on her methods and techniques for organization. But put my own spin on it, of course. And do it from a crafty point of view. And I have asked people over on my Facebook group if they would help me out by sending me some pictures and some videos of their spaces. And I asked them to take her quiz so that I could kind of see if what they got from the test, if it actually lines up with how they organize. So I am a ladybug for everywhere else in the house except for my craft room, and I got that I'm a bee. So whenever you are taking the test, keep in mind, like, if you're taking it for crafty organization, keep that in mind when answering the questions. So, let's see. I'm making sure I'm checking off all of my lists here, what I told y'all. Okay, so the other thing that I also wanted to say is, you only have the room you have. So you can shuffle things around if you don't want to declutter. If you're just dead set, you are not letting things go, you do not want to declutter, you want to keep all the things that you have, that's okay. But I will say, I feel like you will be a lot happier with everything and more inspired if you do declutter first, because you only have the room that you have. You only have the space that you have. Like, you can shuffle things around and cram it in this bin and that bin and stack them up and whatever. I've been there, I know. I speak from experience. I am not saying this to lecture or shame anyone, because literally, look. But literally, you only have the space you have, and that's why I've been working so hard on decluttering my room and getting rid of the things that I don't love or I don't use, because I want to have that space free to keep only the things that I really, truly, truly love and that I want to use, that inspires me to keep going and to keep crafting. Because you can't make your room bigger. You can stack things up and all that, but then, I mean, really, if you have totes, you know, you have it's stacked 6 totes high, are you really going to unstack all of those to get one thing out to use? Or is it going to still just stay there stacked up and you can say, oh yeah, I have that, it's over there, it's too much work to get to, I'm not doing it, I'm not using it, I don't think twice about it. And that's why I'm saying it's easier to declutter first and then organize than to just jump into trying to organize all the things and keep all the things and say, okay, I'll just clean it out later. I'll work on that later. That's a problem for future me. That's one of my favorite things to say. I'm like, anytime I don't really want to do anything and I want to make an excuse, I'm like, that's a problem for future me. So, we have to be honest with ourselves. We only have the room that we have. We make a lot of excuses of why we can't organize, or why we don't, or why we can't declutter. So I wrote down some of the reasons because I have dealt with all of these. Like, I'm going to throw my own self under the bus. Okay, so no time. I just didn't do it because I just don't have time. I don't have time to get in there and organize. I don't have time to declutter. I don't have time to sit down and go through stuff. Well, if you watch the first 13 days this month, you will find that's not true, because there have been lots of you guys that have played the bingo with me, set 10-minute timers, and you guys have decluttered so much. So leave me a comment and weigh in and let me know, for those of you guys who have been playing along and who did declutter, how are you feeling now that you've let a lot of those things go? Are you already regretting it? Are you feeling like there's more breathing room? Are you more inspired? How are you feeling? Does it inspire you to keep going and declutter a little more? And get rid of the things that you don't love? Because you can say you have no time, but if you actually spend a little bit of time here and there, break it down into small amounts, you're going to spend less time looking for things and feeling anxiety and overwhelmed whenever you get into things and are like, okay, I don't even know where to start. Break it down into the small increments of time. So, I spent a lot of money on that. That's another one we like to use. Yes, we did spend a lot of money on that, and we tried it, or we were gifted it, or whatever, and we didn't love it. It didn't work for us because our brains are different from somebody else. And it's okay. You're never going to get that money back. The money was spent. It's gone. Even if you resold it, is it really worth it? Because, you know, say you spent $50 on something. Okay, so you decide, okay, well, I'm going to sell this and at least try to get, you know, 25 bucks out of it, half price. So I like to put a price on my time. So, you know, I want to make basic, I mean, not minimum wage, but basic wages, say 15 bucks an hour for my time if I'm going to go do something. So I can already send an hour or more. I could spend an hour or more just taking pictures of the item, uploading it on Facebook Marketplace, or it just went right out of my mind. The other place online is eBay. There we go, eBay. On eBay or whatever, and then you have to deal with either meeting up in person with the person to get the money and give them the item, or you have to deal with packaging up and shipping, all of those things. And by the time you add up all the time spent for that, is it really worth that? I mean, because if you technically paid yourself for the time worked, then you did it all for nothing. Because $25, I mean, that's just paying you for your time that you've already wasted that you could have been doing something else. I mean, it's something to think about. Some people, you know, they can sell a bunch of stuff at a crafty yard sale, things like that, but that also requires more time that you're spending. So all I'm saying is, if, you know, you're worried about the money you spend on it, just chalk it up as a loss and move on. Maybe find someone to gift it to that would be overjoyed to have it, that's been wanting it so bad, and you can bless them. You know, donate it. Maybe a thrift shop person that's out thrifting, they see it and they're like, ooh, I've wanted one of those for a million years, and now here it is, and it's a blessing to them. So, maybe you was gifted it. That's a good one. Maybe you was gifted it, and you thought you would love it, and you feel guilty because you're like, oh, well, so-and-so gave me that. I can't get rid of that. But I saw a quote on the internet somewhere that said, don't feel guilty getting rid of a gift. It's meant to be a blessing, not a burden. And that rings so true with me because I have so many things like that my kids have gifted me, and they all come to live in my craft room. Because I'm like, yeah, I can't make that work with my decor, y'all. You know, your kid, and I have grandbabies too, you know, and they make me little things. My mom gives me stuff all the time. It's usually just, if you're watching, Mom, sorry, but it's usually just junk stuff that I won't use. I'll never use. It's just like the little, I don't even know what to call it. Like just I don't know. It's just little, like, I don't know, little things you hang up in the window, or a fuzzy pen, or just crazy stuff like things you would win at Chuck E. Cheese. So I don't need all that, but I feel guilty thinking, oh, well, if they come over, or, you know, sometimes my mom will question me. She's like, oh, well, are you still using that cup I got you? Or are you still using that pen? Or, oh, yeah, sure. But for real, don't feel guilty. It's meant to be a blessing and not a burden. And your mental health is worth it to just let it go. Especially if you're not using it, if it serves no purpose for you, if you didn't love it, let it go. Okay, so moving on from the guilt. Oh, because I wrote down, just like everything else in life, not everyone is for you. You know, not everybody's your jam. You have some people that you just feel that instant connection to, and some people that you're just like, let's keep that at a distance. It's the same way with things. You know, not everything's for you. You don't have to love everything. You don't have to keep everything. So, just like people, it's okay to move on from items and let them go. Let's see. Just in case. I don't know. Some of y'all may have remembered that old commercial with Mayhem. He's just in case. And I think it was an insurance commercial. I don't even know. But, you know, they're doing it just in case. But, you know, it was a person just in case. And did you have a chance to use it in the past blank, insert, day, week, month, year, whatever time frame you want to put on it? And if you did have a chance to use it, did you? And if you didn't, why not? Why are you still holding on to it? Another excuse. I'm keeping it for my future kids, grandkids, great-grandkids to pass on. Well, just to say, this could apply to different parts, okay? So, like, I'm not talking about your heirloom jewelry or, you know, whatever, china, whatever. In this video, I am focusing solely on the craft room. Your craft stuff. This is your room. You can organize for you. And even if you're having to share the room, you still have your little space. That is all yours, so you can organize it to your heart's content based on you, how your brain works, how you want to organize. And I can tell you, I scrapbook, and just looking around my room personally, I know that my children and my grandchildren are not going to want this. I mean, literally, one of my kids told me, well, as soon as you die, Mom, we're throwing the scrapbooks away. And I'm like, if that's your prerogative, I have enjoyed myself, and I scrapbook for me. Would I love to know that my kids and grandkids are carrying on and enjoying the scrapbooks once I'm gone? Yes, I would love to know that. And, you know, maybe a little part of my brain says, oh, yeah, that's what they're going to do. But who knows? If they trash them when I'm dead, that's their prerogative. It's meant to be a blessing, not a burden. And so, you know, I don't want them to feel like taking, I don't even know how many completed albums I have in here right now. Because I always tell them, these are my albums. I created them for me, and I truly did, and I have a terrible memory. So I love to be able to look back through my albums. And so I tell them, you can't take my albums till I'm dead. They're mine. But, you know, as of right now, just looking around, I would say I probably have close to 100 albums completed that I have. And that's a big burden. I mean, I do have 4 kids and 3 grandkids already. So maybe they split them up. But still, that's something that they have to then take and deal with and figure out how to store and if they're keeping and all that stuff. But that's a problem for future them. Right? But our kids do not want to inherit all this stuff. Unless you have a kid that is just an over-the-top crafter and that is in there creating with you, I highly doubt they are going to want all your pattern paper and your metal dies and your stamps and all of those things. Because, like I said in the beginning, all of these things hold memories for you and sentimental value to you. Your kids do not have the same sentimental attachment to your things that you have. So, and I just noticed my sleeve is rolled up. So, think about that, and if that changes your mindset a little bit to let go of some things that maybe you've been holding on to because your fantasy self is outweighing your real life self. I already said the no space. Overwhelmed, start small, write a list, rate the importance. I said that. Family don't cooperate. Well, it's your space. You do your thing. I'm giving you permission to organize it ever how you want to organize it. And not having the money. So, you say, okay, I can't organize right now because I don't have the money to buy blank, blank, and blank. And I need this, this, and this. No, you don't. I have been there. I literally had, at one point, a small little bitty desk that I stuck in a hallway in an apartment I lived in when I first started scrapbooking. And then I moved it to my bedroom at the end of the bed. So I had a little area there. And then I moved to my kitchen table. Then I got a desk and moved to the living room. All in this apartment now that I lived in for probably six or 7 years. And then we bought this house, and I had to share this room for a long time. This is just my den. It was an add-on. And I had to share it with the kids and the husband because it was a gaming room, and I had this little bitty corner over here. And now I share it with my husband over there. But for his stained glass stuff, but I am taking it over, but I didn't tell him. He keeps saying, you give me spaces and then you take them away. But he's only done 2 stained glass projects in probably the past 2 or 3 years. He likes to get these big hobbies, and then he'll make maybe a project out of it after buying all this expensive equipment and grinders and saws, and, you know, we have a whole patio full of just woodworking equipment. We could open our own wood shop, but usually the first thing ain't made from it. But I guess he gets bored easy, and he's just on to the next project. So I'm slowly moving him out over there, and I'm going to take it over while I'm doing this organization thing. And I might break the news to him by the end of the month that his space is now gone, but he can use the desk if he wants to really do a project. But anyways, you don't have to spend a lot of money to organize. That's where I was going with this until I got down the rabbit hole. I have done lots of things. I repurposed formula cans when my kids were little that the baby formula came in, and covered them with pretty paper and kept my pens and pencils in those. I've took boxes and put decorative paper around the outside, contact paper from the Dollar Tree, and prettied up boxes to store my things in. I went to the Dollar Tree. Y'all know I still use all these crates that you can see behind me. I've used the crates, and they used to cost $1. Now they're $1.25. At Walmart, you can usually still get them for like $1.09 or something like that. And I use that a lot. But go take that quiz on Clutterbug, because that quiz is going to tell you, if you're answering it truthfully with your craft room in mind, she's usually pretty right on. And it will tell you kind of where you fall in organization. Like, do you like to see all your stuff? Do you like all your stuff to not be cluttered up and you're not seeing it all, but you like it to be organized? Do you like it to be a little organized in broad categories? Do you like it to be micro organized down to every little thing? That quiz tells you a lot. So that's almost all I have. And so, like I said, I have this available. It'll be over on the group, and I can email it if needed. But I wanted to go over the bugs real quick with you. I know this video is a little bit longer than normal. Okay, so like I said, you have butterfly, cricket, ladybug, and bee. So if you get butterfly, that means you're a visual organizer. You like to see all your things because out of sight, out of mind, and it's hard for you to find stuff. And so, like, you need fewer and broader categories. So, I will show some examples of that as we get into organization. I'm going to try to, like I said, I didn't have anybody that identified as a cricket. So if you take the test and you're a cricket and you're cool with sharing some pictures of your space that you already have organized, that is working really well for you, please email me or send me a message on Facebook if I could use your pictures or videos. I would love that. But a cricket is a hidden organizer, and they are very detail oriented. They like to micro organize. So they don't want to see this stuff all out. They like it behind cabinets and, you know, closed cabinets and shelves. But it needs to be really organized in there. A ladybug, which is what I am in the whole rest of the house and how I like to organize, is a hidden organizer. We like to hide things. Usually our places look pretty tidy. Well, my view behind me don't, because I've still been decluttering. It's a wreck. Everything's everywhere. But normally it looks fairly tidy. But if you open a drawer or a cabinet, oh my goodness, it's like a bomb went off. So, we like to shove and hide things everywhere so that we're not seeing all the clutter, because it gives us anxiety and we feel overwhelmed. At least I do. You need like large bins or baskets with fewer, less detailed categories. So that's why, the milk crates work for me. Like, I have a milk crate for Christmas. I have a milk crate for broad categories, text and alphabets, and I have one for like mixed media and journaling and things like that. Now, if you was a cricket, you would break that down even more, like it's inside of a basket, but you would probably have it in a cabinet that closes or whatever, but you would also have it like really categorized down. So say you had an insect or critters. I have 2 critters milk crates of stamps, but if you was a cricket, you would like really organize it. So you would separate it by like all the butterflies together, have some kind of divider in there to divide it and say, okay, this is all the squirrels. Okay, this is all the zoo animals, or whatever. Like, break it down, really break it down. And then a bee is a visual organizer who likes to see their everyday items out in the open. Also like to be perfectionist and like it to be detailed organizing. But they can do macro versus micro. So, like I do, I have a bigger sort. So, I just have all the critters. So, anything that's an animal or a bug is in that critter bin. I don't have them organized like all the butterflies together and, you know, all the whatever. And that's how I tend to organize in here in the craft room. But everything else, I like to have ladybug style. So, because I do like to see some of my things. I don't want to see all of my things. That's why I like them being in the bins. I don't want to see all my things, but I do like to have it pretty in here and to see the other things because it inspires me to create. So, like I said, throughout the month, we will be going through more and more of all of these and kind of breaking them down. I'm going to try to show y'all for each thing that we do. Now, I will say, on this bingo card, there is 20, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. There's 20 spots, and y'all know there's not 20 days left this month. Some days we may combine some things. I would still recommend, honestly, just setting a timer. If the 10-minute timer has been working awesome for you and letting you feel like you're getting things really accomplished, by all means, keep doing that. I don't think I'm going to set a timer on these, but my biggest recommendation is break it down into small categories. So, like I said, make a list first. That's what we're doing today. We're making a list of all the things, all the areas in our craft room that need to be organized. And be honest with yourself. This is not for the fantasy self. This is not for the fantasy Shannon. This is for the Shannon that is here right now with the room that I have and the space I have and the things that I have. So, be honest with yourself. Make a list. And then, which this bingo helps, kind of, it's not all-inclusive. It's not everything that you could have and need to do in your room. But make your own list and then rate it of importance. Which one is most important to start on first? Do you have areas that you have already organized that are working great for you? If so, take that and use that to inspire you to do the rest. But focus on one area. So maybe one day, okay, I'm just going to work on stamps today. Today, I'm just going to work on this one little part of embellishments. And if you need to, like, y'all saw, I have a lot of embellishments. A lot of embellishments. I don't know how much I want to change up how I already organize them, because I've changed it a lot of times over the years, and I found this works well for me. There might be a few things that I do differently, but right now, it works all right. So, I am going to do some stuff to them and organize. But, you know, maybe it's just taking one bin. If you have a lot of embellishments like me, take one bin of the embellishments and then just work on that part for 10 minutes. Because it's still going to add up. And you're still going to, I mean, just what I've done already this month, decluttering-wise, like, I can walk in here and it already feels so much bigger and so much freer. And, like, I'm like, okay, I want to get done with this organization because I'm just ready to create. Like, it has inspired me to create. Like, I want to be in here playing with all my mixed media stuff and playing with my new die cut machine that MK gifted me. And try out all my dies and see all the, because I have so many I have never even used, and I want to use those and use up all my scraps and just have a day to play doing that. So it has really inspired me, and I hope that it's inspiring you. And I am here if ever you have a question or just want to chit chat, I do like to do Zooms over on my Facebook group, and I do have some of those planned coming up. But feel free to send me a message or an email, because I always respond back to you. I don't always get to respond to all my messages on here because it's a lot, and I'm one person, and now I'm trying to run my group and still do the swaps and still do all the things. So, talk about overwhelmed some days. I really am. So, I have not done any of the organization other than what my room has been that y'all have saw in previous craft tour room tours. I'm doing it along with y'all. I'm literally, right now, I might get to film a day or two ahead, but when y'all are seeing this, I just filmed it yesterday. So, I'm still doing it. I'm right there in it with y'all. So, feel free to reach out if you so choose. I will encourage y'all. I will put the link below for the quiz for Cass at Clutterbug. Go over and take that quiz, because it's kind of going to define how we roll this month. Because, like I said, everybody is not the same when it comes to organization. So, please leave me a comment. What you think, if you're on board. Like I said, I don't want y'all to feel like I'm preaching at y'all or trying to act like I'm better or like I'm an expert, because I'm not. And I'll say all those things. I'm not an expert. I'm not better. I'm right here in it. I've done it all in all my years of crafting. I've had tiny spaces, and I've had this big space, pretty much a whole room. I've had very little supplies, and I had to reuse what I had. I mean, I've reused food boxes and covered them, and like I said, formula cans, all those things, to have ways to organize my stuff that I had. But it's time to declutter and let go of those things that we don't love and we're not using, so that we can have a room or a space, or even in Nicole's case, she scrapbooks in her master bathroom, and you will be seeing some of her videos, her video footage and pictures this month, and it's inspiring to me what she creates and accomplishes in such a small area. And so you don't have to have these grand rooms. Let's stop putting things off for our future self, for our fantasy self, and just be honest with ourselves about where we're at right now and what we can accomplish with what we have. Use it up, make do, something, or go without. I don't remember how the saying goes. Make do, use it up, something, or go without. I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe I'll pop it up on the screen. I can't think of the quote right now, but I saw it. I say it all the time. I'm like, I am all about reusing, repurposing, just trying to think of things in a different light, versus going out and buying something else. When you usually have something right there that will serve the same purpose if you just think about it in a different way. So, I just want to say thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you're not a subscriber, I would love to have you hit that notification bell. I have multiple giveaways on my channel throughout the month for embellishments, for Happy Mail. Also over on the Facebook group, we're doing challenges and different things like that. So I would love to have you over there. And I think that's it. I hope that you come back the rest of the month and work on decluttering and organizing with me, and just let me know what y'all think. And until then, bye y'all.